Are we on, Doug?
Almost, Mr. Chairman. You're live, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks for the ice cream. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Our next agenda item is not an action item. This is a presentation on the American Rescue Act survey results. At this time, Mackenzie, I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I think this is pretty clear cut about the results of the survey here. Oop, where's my stuff? And it is there we go. There, can you guys see that?
1 second, Mackenzie. I just need to do.
I need to move me around.
Yeah, I need to move you. Go ahead. You are ready now.
Okay, cool. Just a quick rundown of the survey. We started it essentially April 1st. Is that correct? March 1st.
Yes.
And ran
April.
it through June 1st.
April 1st.
And at the end of the day, we had 316 people take the survey. The first series of questions, 1 through 7, were required questions. So everyone had to answer these. And essentially, just to give you a little context, they were set up as sliders. So you could pick 0 to 100 based on the importance of these 7 areas, that we had kind of teed up for consideration. So when you're looking at the average number, that's the average that most people picked. Anywhere from 0 to 100, 316 people did that. So the total number is, if you added up everyone's score, how they scored each one, that would be the total number. So it's sort of the same thing, but I wanted to give both numbers. But obviously there's some clear winners: broadband, housing, recreation infrastructure. That really came out as the front runners. I think, interestingly, in these were just very, very specific questions where we asked people. But in the comments, I think there was a lot that the most comments we got were follow-ups for recreation infrastructure. And I think maybe what we had been thinking about was more like, trailhead, parking lot, signage, things like that, installing, vault toilets, things like that, to make things more manageable. What a lot of people noted in the notes in terms of recreation infrastructure is indoor recreation facilities, pickleball courts, youth sports activities, and things like that. So I just wanted to point that out, that I think maybe what we had originally thought for recreation infrastructure was a little bit different than what the general public thought of recreation infrastructure. And so with that, these are those sort of, I just word clouded it. It's a lot. I believe I sent Sherry, anyway, the full data, which gives you all of the comments. I'm happy to share that with everyone. It's just delightful reading. But this gives you kind of the pick out of the big terms that people always use. And it's the same kind of top 3 seem to come out in this as well. And then, just for reference, what community people that responded, where they are living, so that we understand kind of where their perception is when they're talking about those different ideas. So that's the survey. Not anything too rocket science-y, but it's really good data. And then I think the next step is really to schedule some live forums and use this as a catalyst to ask deeper questions, and see if we can't streamline. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. This was done via SurveyMonkey. We can always do another survey if we need to hone anything down. So I just wanted you guys to have this information.
So I have the full one, and I can just send it to him.
I have it.
Okay.
With the full one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With all the comments on it.
Lovely.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments on pickleball courts, which we're in the process of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of interesting comments.
Well, and I think, we talked briefly about this when we sort of did the check-in, is there may be an opportunity to, delineate what is in the county's ability to do and not do. I mean, some things are great ideas, but does not necessarily fall under this type of funding, or the county's ability to do it. So it might be good to note that for some of these also.
So Mackenzie, if we do evening meetings, one at each one of the communities, is there a
Mhm.
day that you found to be better than another since it's so busy? The Tuesday
always
night?
I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think, weekends are tough. Mondays and Fridays are tough. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Wednesdays tend to be a big church night. So a lot of people have activities those evenings. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are always sort of my go-to. And I think just given enough notice, people can do that. There's a lot less people in like kids sporting stuff right now because it's summer. So I think it's actually pretty good timing. When fall hits, everyone's got practice after school and parents are running ragged. So I think now would be a good time to schedule those.
We don't have to have this committed until 24, right, Sherry? And
We have to
spent
have
by
it
26.
committed. Yeah, you're right.
And I guess when we did like the Midas Gold community agreements and some of the other public hearings, we waited until like late fall and winter time instead of in the summer, because you won't get anybody come out in the summer.
Yeah, people are gone.
My feeling is, we're not in a rush. We know we got plenty of time. I would recommend that we wait till November, December, January, that time of frame time of the year to do those public hearings. It, People just don't want to do anything in the summer. Everybody's got jobs and trying to keep up with the yards and all that. But that's just one vote.
No, I agree with you on that one. We better wait.
Doug, have we gotten our other payment?
I don't believe that we have yet. Let me check real quick.
And the only reason that I was thinking maybe a little bit more quickly is, first of all, right now people are interested in the conversation because it's out there. But secondly, I don't want to start spending money on projects that may pop up that we haven't, had a full review on, including broadband. But yeah, I'm happy to do whatever you guys want to do.
So,
Commissioner Mopin, we have not received that second payment yet.
just a real quick question on this one. When you look at what's already been done, that she just gave us, this is what the people who chose to respond, this is what they come up with. And of course, it drops off pretty significantly about waterways, but top four actually are up in almost the 50% bracket. And are we required to have these public meetings on this, or should we use this as our basis for making decisions? I'm kind of leaning that direction because we've already impacted Mackenzie and these people that are willing to step up and do this. I'm not too sure. That just going to further complicate this
But we don't have to
decision
do
process.
anything. We're just trying to be as transparent
I'm
as
not,
possible.
yeah, I understand, but is it necessary in this case? I don't know.
I think the way I look at this is to me tells me that, like you said, there's four things that are all pretty close together within 4 or 5 points that you could probably pick and any of them would work. My issue is, like, for example, the road facilities. Well, we don't know how much it's going to cost. We haven't got a firm bid on all that.
Right.
The broadband, we don't know where is that money going to go. Is it going to go for a loop through the valley, or is it all going to go to this part of the valley? Same thing with the housing. We've spent a lot of time talking about housing, and we don't have land to build housing on.
I know.
So I don't know how we could go out and build all this housing if we don't own the land.
We can
We've
invest
looked
in
at
land.
some. There's some, but
We could
$2
invest
million
in land.
is not going to buy you much
No,
housing.
it's not.
And recreation infrastructure is, I think Larry and Dave, those guys do a great job of getting grants to buy that stuff.
Mhm.
We know there's a lot of recreation opportunities, Parks and Rec. and that kind of stuff. Which sure we purchased outright from landowners in the past, for good deals. So what I'm saying is we could do any of them, or all of them, or one of them, or and that should, to me, this just kind of helps me make that decision. Now, if say broadband was screwed down at the bottom of the list, it's off the list.
Yeah.
That's what it tells me. Same thing with the county campus improvement. That one, P and Z comp plan, probably off the list. We're doing a waterways planning.
It's already in the process.
It's in process. You know, and then what's the best bang for $2.2 million?
Yeah. So
Probably recreation infrastructure, but, because we can charge in the future. Broadband, so broadband is going to be a huge conversation and expense. It's not, $2 million
It's
is
not
not
gonna
even
do that.
gonna touch
and this is
anything.
this is a point that I was kind of starting to head towards is we need to figure out some way to use this information to make something valuable kind of happen.
Yeah.
You know, in other words,
Housing would be, we could invest in ground to put housing on.
yeah,
That would make a big impact.
maybe we could use it to secure, you know, a chunk of that state property, say. That's
Yeah.
one example. It said, okay, guys, here's a place to build now. You know,
Yeah.
it's something like that. But instead of just taking a little bit off, if you decide to take it off by those percentages, kind of, you know, nobody gets enough,
Yeah, agreed. No,
you
we,
know, so.
this gives us an idea on what, it would,
Yep.
you know,
I think this gives me my priorities where to look, concentrate on.
Yeah, I think it tells us that people, these are some really important issues, you know, recreation, broadband, but I personally I think you take broadband out of this one.
Well,
I
and it's like,
disagree with that because we do
Yeah.
need to pay for some planning.
But
It's not,
maybe planning, I don't know.
I mean, if you look at that list, people are most, you know, they want broadband. They want us
know,
to
but-
focus on that.
Can you do it with what we have?
No, we
Is that
can't.
realistic?
Do it, but there's
Yeah.
planning mechanisms that we are paying for that we need to continue to pay for.
So,
it's, you know, if you read the comments that folks put in at the end, it's pretty enlightening. You know, everybody's got a specific spot they would really like to spend it.
uh-huh.
And some of them are just crack ups. You know, a really great one, I see it over and over, is childcare facilities.
Childcare facilities.
Maybe we need to think about that one too.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking if you go to public meetings about it, then you just get more of this.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, instead of, saying, okay, this is revealed or some real interest are
What-
here. Maybe we need to step back and look within our plans and go, how can we use that to best move
What I
something
was
forward?
looking at was how do you take this information to the public? I mean, it's going to be in the newspaper.
Yeah,
But that's only one mechanism. I mean, we do need to share it on social media,
Mhm.
but the public meetings was to share this information, not necessarily to get more.
and this is a good place to use McKinsey a little bit more in that regard. If we make some, start moving forward with some.
Is this on our website, Mackenzie? I guess after today it can be a link to this.
Yeah, the summary
information.
date is not. Yeah. Yep, I can put it up there.
I saw one suggestion come in from, that said this build the fairgrounds, just make a showcase fairgrounds. If you decided to use something like
That
that.
was L. Did that.
No, I think that came in from Carol Coral.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it was a nice long
Mhm.
argument for that.
Mhm.
So you're taking something, then you'd say, okay, you're taking a good chunk of money and you're really putting polish on something.
Well, and if
You
you
know.
look at it, if we're going to have a return on an investment, if we have money to
Yeah.
put into something where
Right.
we actually can charge at the end of the day
Right,
and get money back and it becomes a,
So-
continuing asset, recreation facilities, building campgrounds, where you can actually charge to bring, money back into the
and that
county.
does fall in fairly highly up in there at number 3, into that kind of thing. So anyway, that's just, I don't know. I'm just kind of, maybe at this point we start dissecting our projects a little bit and decided, well,
What about taking each one of these areas and asking people to do some proposals to us? Hmm?
I
Just
love this one,
let
bringing more employable population to the county.
Well, it's housing related.
employable
I
population.
don't know if it's housing or maybe they need bus tickets.
Yeah. But it's a good opportunity for us. Create,
Maybe it's a grant program, you know, these are the areas that we're looking at and what entities out there actually provide that, and do it like a lot fund and have people actually write grants to have us look at it and,
yeah. Make it, put a date on it. If you have a project, you want to go for this, get us, request this grant by X number, whatever date. And then we've got some projects on the table.
and it's not us trying to
Yeah.
design it, it's, nonprofits in the community or our rec department or,
Yeah.
housing funds.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one thing on housing, so that $50 million fund that is state right now is going to start being utilized immediately, and they will need some grant funding, grant match. So that housing can be anyone that's willing to invest in Valley County for a portion of grant match.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have us having anything to do with housing, but it allows developers to come in and actually create something that's more affordable and sustainable.
Incentive.
Yeah, be an incentive for it, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thanks Mackenzie for this. Thanks for the update and all the hard work.
Yeah.
Definitely, share this with the public and we'll see where it goes. Like I said, we got a lot of time to decide what we're going to do, and I have a sneaky feeling something will pop up and make that decision for us. It could be, something to do with Cascade Lake or the South Lake Sewer District or something like that. Things just have a way of working out in deals like this, but we're in no rush. We got plenty of time to decide, and I think we get down maybe next winter, we decide what we want to do. We could go out with that and get the public's reaction, and whatever it is, and kind of go from there. But
Perfect.
I
We'll
don't know
get
what
this
to
up on
say.
the website so people can see it, and then
Great.
we can go from there.
Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Anything else from Mackenzie?
Thanks, Mackenzie.
No,
Thank
I
you.
guess that's it.
Great day.
You too.
What's next? What are these guys doing in here?
Maybe we should give commissioners a big raise. We tried that. Yeah, that's right. Dave remembers those days.
Entertaining, if nothing else.
Okay, we're going to go on to our last agenda item for the day. This is a budget workshop. And that is in your packet. I can get to it here. And I'm assuming, Dub, we're going to do McCall first.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to do first? You don't care, do you?
Which one's which? Okay,
Which one is which?
3,900. 39.
Oh, shoot. Smith's Ferry, Cascade Warm Lake.
Oh, the H.
It's a 3,900 one.
Sorry. It's down there. I wound it up on the floor there. Larry, I can't remember if I asked last year or not, but so on the salaries, like supervisor, and it says salaries McCall, we get reimbursed from Parks and Rec for what part of that, or do we?
No, you get reimbursed from the snowmobile
Or snowmobile?
takes.
Okay.
It's on there.
Is that a percentage
Which one do
basis?
which one do you want to start with?
Nicole first.
Okay.
And we're not gonna do a budget. We're gonna go down to
Yeah.
D budget, B budget.
You can do the A on this one because it's that amount that they give to us, it's not.
Oh, okay, 'cause
What's
yeah, they're not,
the-
they
The
won't,
wage is determining how much they're gonna give us.
right?
So we
So we get reimbursed 13,500 and, or 13,500 and 55,000.
And I put 55 in for the,
So they're county employees, but we're being reimbursed for the work they do.
No, so the only reimbursement is for Larry's salary for supervision of the snowmobile grooming program. So a portion of his salaries has always been reimbursed, but that hasn't been increased for several years. So I don't know if that's something that
13,500.
yeah, it's been 13,500 for.
Every,
Do you know how many years?
oh gosh, at least 4 years now. Out of 39.
So do we just ask for more? Can we increase it to 20, or, I mean, how do we go about that?
I think Larry has to kind of give us an overview of how much time is dedicated to supervision of this program. And it really should be acquainted to the amount of time that you are,
Oh, got it.
I guess, I'm sorry, it's late in the day, but how many hours during the grooming program is your sole focus, the grooming operations?
So it's never my sole focus because we've always got all the other stuff going on at the same time. All stuff like that going on at the same time. But I've always thought it was fairly fair. Grooming's basically 4 months. So it's, a third of what I'm doing. And everything's year round. There's nothing anymore that, back in the old days, it was you did grooming and that's it, but that isn't even that young guy.
so Larry, 13,500 is not a third, it's
see
gonna be a
over there.
quarter.
Huh?
13,500 is not a third, it'd be a quarter of the 55.
No,
Is that what
but-
you're saying?
But we also have, out of the Smith Ferry,
Oh,
there's 2,000, and then out of Cascade, there's another 7,000.
okay.
So it comes out of each
Oh, I see.
section
I
of the
got you.
budget,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and
And then I
think,
guess to how is that paid for? It's so it's the money that's collected in registrations, and then at the end of the year we do a journal entry to move that money into the general fund, right?
Got it.
So that 13,500 is being moved into the general fund to cover a portion of the costs or cover a portion of Larry's salary.
Okay.
And the 55,000 is just for the groomers that just come straight out of this fund for grooming operations in the McCall-Donley district.
So because we do annual increases for our employees for salaries, and we did 6% one year, 3% one year that I've been here, don't you think it's fair that we ask for an increase to support the increases in salary that is occurring along the way?
Of my money? Probably. I could understand why we would. I'd have to redo my budget because I've got a total amount of money I have to work with. And I could pull some of it out of extraordinary expenses, that's what we'd have to do. We'd have to change all three of these.
So explain, so you have a preset amount you've got to work from. So has that increased or has that been stagnant for 4
No,
or
it's
5 years?
increased.
It's increased.
Yeah, because we had the tag increase this year. Or last year, we did the legislation to get the tag increase. That's why you're gonna see a lot of numbers that we go over today are gonna be a lot. Which means we can groom a lot more. And again, we got the double the price of fuel.
Okay, so
so let's start at signs.
And actually, Commissioner, if you ask me next year, I think it would be appropriate, that now that we've had this discussion, that I do put an increase out of this.
remember your budgets are not set in stone till.
Oh, I know that.
So you
We
can
would
do
just have
whatever
to
you
have
need
this
to. but-
conversation later.
All over again.
Because I'd have to take this back and start over.
Okay, so let's start at supplies, which is 0016. You left that at 200.
This is a new expense line, Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yeah. Same with the Garmin
correct?
and the portable toilets and the security camera.
Correct. These are all new expense lines that Larry wanted to create for fiscal year 2023. to assist with expenditures for the snow grooming program.
And the Garmin is for all of the groomers in the McCall area.
Just that Garmin would cover the groomers and call Donnelly, that's correct.
Okay.
And that's what I did is I just, for the sake of transparency, because before everything was coming out of extraordinary expenses, and I did get some comments on that, so I want to be really transparent about it. So the Garmin was 600. Portable toilets was 1,500.
And where's
I don't
that?
know I don't know where those are on your list, because all I have is this I've never seen.
It's the same. Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Let me try a different pair of glasses.
Larry, I can print this off for you and
Oh, that would really help out.
just give me a few minutes.
Okay, and then we'll go down to security camera. Where's that
Want me to
going?
print something, Doug?
Security camera is the
I
tightest
can-
camera.
Yeah, I can do
Okay.
it.
And that's a new one starting last year, right?
That's correct.
Okay, fuel for heating, we bumped that one up from 23 to 3,000. And I think that's probably appropriate.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Electricity, we bumped from 3,500 to 5,000. We'll go on down to diesel, 50,000 to 70,000. Did you by chance, I'm not gonna ask this while we're on. I'll wait till I talk to you afterwards. I know you were thinking about pre-buying some of
I
that.
filled all the tanks up at the end of the year. I flipped the coin, filled them all up, and I'm so glad I did, because we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 gallons out there at about $3.15 right now.
Wow.
Nice. Good job.
Okay, we'll go
We've gone
down
the
to
other way.
Yeah.
vehicle repairs. You went from 4,000 to 10,000. And that's for groomers,
Yes.
not for your vehicle, but for groomers. Hey, extraordinary expense, you took that from 15,891 to 25,530. Where'd you get that number from?
Well, what we did is we took the total amount of money we had available, we did our budget and whatever was
Okay,
balanced, so it was come out to the dollar.
so then next year, if you decide to bump up that salary reimbursement, it would come out
It
of
would be
this.
coming out of there, yes.
Okay, repairs, maintenance, and fixtures, 2,400 to 4,000. Got a pretty nice budget here.
It'll be the first time.
Equipment tool, you left at $1,000.
Yes.
And rent lease, you left at 10,000. What did you rent last year for 76.93? Was that snowplow equipment?
It was snow plowing.
Okay, we have other expense. Wait a minute. So apparently that other expense went away.
So other
Mhm.
expense, snow plowing,
Other expense, snowplow. Well, there's another line above it on mine. It says 1,500, but it hasn't been filled in. So we'll go down to other expense, snow plowing, 6,000 to 25,000.
yes. Yeah, we used to take the stuff that was done up at Titus and West Base and Green out of Expo. So this puts all the snow removal in the same package, so we're a lot more transparent about how we're spending. And it also gives me the opportunity to share with IDL, because remember, we're collecting on IDL property now, and we have to show how we're spending. It makes it easier for me to show it.
Okay, other expenses, roof shoveling. This is to pay Dave to shovel off the roofs.
Yes, so Dave can shovel off Francie Wallace.
3,500 to 7,000.
Horrible job.
That's a big roof.
It's a huge roof.
You actually have to shovel it?
Hey, everybody good with McCall?
We missed a couple things on here.
Hey, let's go back. Where are we going?
So there should be a line item for a second year expenses, second year.
That's a revenue. It'll be on your revenue sheet.
Okay. That's because we're gonna receive that money this year, but we want to save it till next year because it's actually a second year. And the other line was savings, however. Add revenue 10,600. So we've decided to save a percentage of our budget every year now for catastrophic expenses and the possibility, because we're not getting any cooperation out of IDPR, equipment groomer over at Warm Lake. That's one of the areas we really want to develop. So that's what call.
Okay, let's go over to Cascade and Warm Lake. Where is that? 40? Thank you. Let's talk salaries there. Same thing, you're reimbursed 7,000. And now what did you do with Cascade? You put that
That
in,
was-
you went from 17,000 down to 2,500.
25,000.
Oh, it's 2,500 here.
Yeah.
Boy, I can think of a couple of guys that wouldn't be happy with me on that one.
It happens. Okay, now let's go on down to signs. New one, 400. Same thing with the garment at 240.
Hang on, let me get to that. Yep, 400 signs. And then again, our second year was 13,000 and we're saving 2,800.
And there's no fuel for heating over at Camel Creek? There's no heat in that building.
It's electric.
What's electric? What'd you do with electric? Okay, the electricity, then you took from 1,200 to 2,000. Okay. Fuel, diesel, you went from 10 to 15,000. Probably about right. And then we'll go on down to repairs. You're requesting 4,000. Extraordinary expenses, this again, I'm assuming is your leftover monies.
It's the leftover.
So that went from 12,776 to 29,690. Okay. Repairs, maintenance, buildings and fixtures. You put that in at 1,500.
1,500, yes.
And equipment, tool maintenance, 1,000.
Yes.
Okay, everybody good with that one?
So Larry, I apologize, I had to step out, but did the Snowmobile Advisory Committee, let me backtrack, we created a second year tag revenue line.
Yeah.
Did you want a second year tag expense line too, or not just yet?
So I would like the expense line. I would never use it, but I'd like the expense line because that's what those guys see on the budget. They're gonna see that transparency of that. They really have that money coming next year. That's my concern about this.
Well, they'll have it on the revenue side.
Zero this year, because otherwise, if you put it in as
Yeah.
expense this year.
And we
it
can,
looks like
that's,
spend it this year.
that's fine.
I think for,
Next year, we can add it.
in fiscal year 2024, I apologize for having this conversation.
No, it's fine, Doug.
So the Snowmobile Grooming Club wanted to create, they wanted to have the ability to hold back 5% of revenue collected. We created a way that can be done by creating a separate revenue line for what we're calling it as second year tags, right?
That's two lines. We got two lines. We got second year tags.
And savings cascade.
Yes.
So we have two revenue lines, one for the second year tags and then one for the 5% savings.
Right.
And they can see that on the revenue side. When they want to expend that, we would just have to create a separate expense account for that, or maybe we wouldn't even have to create
I
a.
don't think we necessarily would. It depends on what it's spent as.
Yeah,
So is there
was
anything
gonna-
within code where we can't save money?
Can't save money
in a trust.
but we're doing it in remaining cash. That's how the auditor wants
Remaining cash. So
It's going to be
do we
saved
have a remaining cash forward balance right now?
to us for snow grooming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything that we get that we don't expend goes into remaining cash.
So in order to create a line item like this, do we have to have what these funds are being saved for?
No.
Okay.
And well, yes, because it has to be for snow grooming, right? It has to go towards the snow grooming program. It cannot be reallocated to the general fund or anything like that. So,
And within
So,
that
yes.
district that it's being saved for. I just wanted
Yes.
to know if we had to have a capital project that
No.
we're investing in.
well, my understanding is correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, but they were trying to create a savings to potentially purchase new groomers in the future or,
Exactly, catastrophic failures, whatever. We can't count on IDPR because they've changed their whole, they have a fund for catastrophic failures and it's failing. So we gotta make sure we cover our own basis.
You can't call it capital improvement.
sorry to get us off track. I just wanted to make sure we
No,
were
it was good.
capturing
I
it.
Okay,
appreciate
let's
it.
go to Smith's Ferry.
This is the one I'm the most excited about, if you wanna know the truth. It's the least amount of money, but at least it's to the point where they've collected enough where they'll be able to take care of themselves.
That's always good to hear.
Yes.
Start out with salaries, 2,070. You left that the same. You bumped up the salaries of Smith's Ferry from 5 to 7 for groomers. Is that 2 groomers?
No, probably one.
Well, the reason I ask is that groomer going to go out and do the warm lake, or is Cascade going to do
Yeah, and
that?
what happens is we run 2 time cards. If any of our groomers can work in any of the areas, we run separate time cards for
Okay.
them. That way we don't use
Okay,
any.
don't need retirement and all that stuff, so we'll go on down to your B budget. The first one is, of course, the new one for Garmin. 240 like Cascade. Going down to fuel for heating, 500 to 1,000.
Well, Larry, you're already at 1102 this year. You sure 1,000's high enough?
Again,
You're 220% of budget this year already. So you've already spent 1,102.
well,
Sure,
there's,
1,000's enough.
yeah, there's 2 things that happened this year. Because at the end of the year, we didn't get any snow. We didn't spend a lot. We didn't have to push a lot of snow. So we have a lot of rollover from last year, plus a huge increase on the tech sales. So it is gonna look tremendously larger. We've really we've come so close to run out of money.
You heat that facility down there with propane though, don't you?
That one's done with propane, and it's been, the Cougar Mountain Club has been paying
Oh,
for a lot of that. They bought 500 gallons of diesel, and we also get 500 gallons of diesel from.
all right. So that's why your diesel budget only went up 400.
Went up to,
1,600 to 2,000.
yeah. Well, that's all I had. And then-
Nothing in buildings or repairs. Nothing on that. Okay, equipment tool, you're gonna put a 4587. I'm assuming that's just,
That renamed to equipment repair. So it could be groomer repair and
so
Did the roof
Gabby,
get-
that one should be equipment / tool maintenance.
Larry, did that roof get replaced down there at Wellington?
no, that's on a grant that we were told we have. And I'm on their backs because they haven't sent you guys the letter to sign yet. And we're running out of time, to be honest with you, with the contract.
You bugging them.
I've called Kathy every week.
Okay, that takes care of, I think, all 3 of them, if I'm reading right here. Everybody's good with that?
Yep.
We got a new groomer this year. Another new one,
Yeah,
Nice. Where will it be at?
up north. They replace them on basically on hours. Most of them get replaced at 4,000 hours. This one's got 300 hours on it. Yeah, it's kind of exciting, really.
is it a disability or what is it?
We hope so. It's got to come out of the state
Well,
purchasing program. So, you know how that goes. I just don't want to end up with another pre-knock.
I think it's a duplicate.
Oh, you
We need
do?
to check. We need
Okay.
to see.
You
if
want me
that's
to
a
sign it
duplicate.
anyway?
Yeah, you can go ahead and sign it, but it might be a duplicate, and I just don't
That's
want
it
us
for
to
me.
send out 2 letters.
Oh, I
So we're
double
just gonna
checked.
have to
Yeah,
double.
over there.
Triple double check.
I
Okay.
never
Because
remember
Good.
this.
Because
was-
You
they're
look so much
past the
different.
duplicate.
Yeah, gosh, maybe I better grow it back, huh?
Elle picked it up this morning. I was going, I know there's something different, but I wasn't certain what it was.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to watch people, nobody say anything. Some people immediately, but
What a weekend, huh?
Yes, this one was, yeah, this one.
Yes, it was.
$600 at Cabarrus.
Nice.
I know, it's that parking down there somehow, unless Elt will sell me 3 acres down there for parking, I don't know what else to do.
It's all underwater, man.
No, I want that dry stuff back there, where all the bees nests are. Put
The
a
bees'
parking lot
nest?
back there.
Is there a
so
hornet's
everybody-
nest?
They have to park back there. Get them off the road.
I don't know where you're talking about. You mean on the
I-
west side of the road or the east side of the road?
Well, as you're coming down the road, it would be on the south side. Just at where it turns right there.
Huh?
Yeah, just right
You only
back.
want the best stuff, huh?
Yes. You think you want me to be the guy that asks for the worst stuff?
Larry, is that really kind of down to the only option is to buy a couple acres
You
there?
know, the sad thing about it is we actually own property on the other side heading east, but it's all wetlands and the fill would be astronomical.
Would it?
And just dealing with the Corps of Engineers and Water Resources, I don't think because there's a creek there. That's year round, isn't it, Al?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's. That's almost-
We actually, honestly, and I told Larry this before, we had a U of I grad student come down from Moscow and design a parking lot upriver for that whole site. Paved, vaulted toilets, all that. And our recording engineers came in and said, no way, you guys can't do anything there. That's all wetlands. And it's up to 3.5, 4 feet underwater almost every year.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I don't know how you'd
surprised.
hold that vault
Yeah.
toilet, that pavement, it'd be.
The only thing I can think of is to put get some property from you, put a parking lot up there and close the road. Make them park up. They come down, drop off their rafts.
Well, Dave had some good ideas, and I was watching that this weekend over there. And there was one big bus that was parked right along that edge, and he sat there for quite a while. That guy is messing it up for everybody else to go in there and make a loop and get out and go back down and park.
We've talked to
Is that the one with the paint on it?
Yeah, it's like a really funky.
It's just one of those things that happens at every parking situation, every boat ramp. You know, it's just gonna happen. It's really weird, but
We have some ARPA money to buy a parking lot.
Well, the ultimate would be if we could get the stuff across the river on the other side, but Elt and I both talked to that guy and really tried hard. All the people I've ever talked to, that is just a definite. Even Perpetua talked to him about buying it as an offset for us. We keep going. Thank you.
Yep.
So Commissioners, Gabby and I will be continuing to work on the budget, and we'll have a few more workshops. Our plan, though, Commissioners, is to be able to publish by the 15th of August for the general public to have 2 weeks to review before our public hearing scheduled for the 29th. But we are still diligently just making sure that we have everything accurate, and we will we will be doing a couple more workshops with the commissioners. We have the waterway still that the commissioners haven't seen. That will be done on the 11th. And we're just trying to finalize.
When are we gonna do solid waste? You're waiting.
We need to get that study back again.
So are we bugging that guy?
My understanding, I talked with Scott Klingon on Thursday or Friday, and he was going to reach back out to Great West Engineering. We have the Capital Improvement Committee will be presenting to the commissioners their recommendations
Oh, good.
on the 18th. I was hoping to have that done by the 11th, but I don't think that that's going to happen with us having BOE for the next 3 days.
Supposedly June's thinking we could be done by tomorrow night if we go late.
Oh, we're supposed to, oh, yeah. thinking that was tonight. It's not.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow we start at 9 and go late.
But Gabby, if I'm looking at the 2023 expense budget worksheet, it doesn't have any of the income streams on there yet, does it?
We don't put the income on.
Other than that, I just wanted to give you kind of a
Okay.
brief update. If you're wanting to adjourn, just let me know.
If we're done, then I will adjourn the meeting.
Right now, I'm looking at a potential budget. Well, it might be just too soon to even do that.
Well, I guess we'll see you in the morning.